Hi there. Today I wanted to share with you guys a tool that I stumbled across a couple of years ago. It's called the Firefox Web Developer add-on, and it's been a lifesaver many times. So if you don't have it yet, you can just Google Firefox Web Developer and you'll come to this site. All you have to do is click Add to Firefox and it will add it to your browser, and you can see that it's right here across the top underneath my bookmark toolbar. So I'm just going to show a couple of things that I use frequently from it today, and there's a lot more, but once you add it you can explore that on your own. The first one that I really like is under the CSS tab, and I use this one all the time, View Style Information. And what it does is it allows me to move my cursor around the page and look at the cascading style sheet style for any particular element. Now this is helpful because most cascading style sheets are hundreds or thousands of lines long. So what it does is once I click on something, it opens it in this window exactly which styles are applicable to that element. It also tells me what line and which style sheet I can find them on, which is really helpful because many content management systems themes have multiple style sheets applied at the same time. So it gives you a nice at-a-glance way to peek at the elements that are controlling any given style. The next tool I want to show is under Images, and if you go to Images, I use these three pretty frequently: Display Image Dimensions, File Sizes, and Paths. The first one, Dimensions, is basically just finds all of the images on the page and shows you in this little tiny cursor, in this little tiny tab, will show you what size that image is being displayed at. Now, the image might be larger than that, and if you were to click on it, it might get larger, but this is the version that's on the site that it will show. Sometimes it's really helpful to figure out the dimensions quickly of something if you can't remember what your set or standard dimensions are. But another thing that's really helpful is to show the file sizes. And file sizes are really important because they control the load time of your page. So you can look at the difference here between this file size of 47 kilobytes and this one of 8. One of those is obviously a larger file, which would mean that it takes longer to load. It's important that your staff, your online staff and your web developer remember that load time for different people is different based on their connection speed and their computer and a number of other factors. The last image tool is Image Paths, and this is really just helpful to figure out where that image is located. We've had an instance before where a staffer has uploaded multiple versions of the same image, and the staff needed to figure out which version was on the page and where that was being pulled from. So once we turn those off, we can go over to Information, and under Information, the one that I really use more than anything else is the Display Element Information tool. What this allows you to do is click on something and get a quick glance at all of the controls of that, the width, the height, the class. This is some of the stuff that you'll find both in the style sheet but also in your PHP file. Now your web developer is going to understand what this is, or should understand what this is, so it's not a crisis if you can't figure out what all of this means. Okay, so let's turn that off. Next one is under Miscellaneous. This is one of my favorites. The Display Ruler tool. It allows you to measure any space on the page and then tells you up here what the width and the height of that space is. It also tells you where the position it is on the page. So that's really helpful. And then you have, we're going to skip over to View Source, which is the last thing. And this just shows you, if I can move it over here, the source for the page. And this is really helpful for building sites, but it's also helpful in analyzing the sites of others. Lets you recognize really quickly if it's open or closed source, and the great thing is it allows you to check things as you go. So that's Firefox Web Developer add-on. It's a really handy tool. I hope you find it useful.